So how would you know when another comes with more knowledge and understanding? Hello, it's April 2022, and I'm going to talk briefly about something that I have talked about in a few videos over the years. And I'm going to revisit this, and I think I have a new kind of analogy that I can use here. And it has to do with knowledge. Now, there's an old argument, for example, that if two people are standing on separate sides of a, say, for example, a round flat table, and there's a vase in the center, and it's not a perfect vase, it has some sort of patterns or something on it. Each person will see that vase from, for example, a different perspective, and that would be their knowledge base, for example, when viewing the vase. There's also memes that use the letters, the number 6 or 9, and if you're standing on the bottom of it, you see a 9. If you're standing on the top of it, you see a 6. Or, I mean, even that, what I just explained, could kind of be confusing as well, but I think you're getting my drift. So when you're looking at this vase, and you have people on the opposite ends. Now, it doesn't necessarily even have to be somebody on the opposite end. It could be somebody at a 45-degree angle to the left or the right, and they're going to see that same item, that vase, from a different perspective. And we can call that the limit of someone's knowledge base. Now, imagine if one of those people were able to, say they both were standing on the same side of this flat round table, and they were looking at the vase head on. And don't start with the argument, well, one might see it 4 inches differently than the other. Like, we're not going that far, okay? I'm trying to make another big point here. So they basically start at the same spot. Now, one person is able to move around, say, even for the sake of argument, 3/4 around of the base. And this could tie in, for example, that there's some knowledge that is still unknown to anyone. So you have this person that has the perspective of walking around the table and seeing 3/4 of the vase as they walked around it. Now, when you're looking at it from each piece, like each time you take a step, it's interpretation of the base, or sorry, of the vase, because the vase might have from one angle, as I'm going to use this as a descriptive, square, and then if you walk around, it might change to a triangle or something, like, who knows. I'm just trying to make a point here. But if you have someone that's able to walk through at least 3/4 around the vase, their perspective, their interpretation of that vase is greater than the person who, for example, remains static. Now, obviously, that person remaining static might have a few steps into it. I'm just trying to simplify a point here. So what I'm getting at here is knowledge, and I've talked a lot about, for example,
natural immunity helps, but isn't going to be the salvation for someone if they contract AIDS. Even someone if they contract AIDS.
Well, one of the things I've said for even the past few years is many may wake up to one or several things, to slumber in something else while slumbering in everything else. And we're not all equal with, for example, knowledge and perspectives and interpretations, because the more perspectives that you have of something, the as a descriptive, the greater interpretation. And this is important because some people have more knowledge, and I'm not saying they may not have knowledge of everything, obviously not, because that's why I use 3/4 way around. And if you look at the vase as anything, life, it's a pretty big vase, but just say life or something, or the world that we live in, It could even be, you can bring it down to law, politics, carpentry, pick something, right? So we're not all equal, and some people have had more view of the subject. And a lot of people, and I get this, and I've mentioned this actually in a video this year, or 2 videos this year, where how a lot of people maintain that childlike state where, you know, they're constantly learning. And yes, everyone's constantly learning, right? Because you're getting more steps and learning different perspectives, but some people might be ahead they're further ahead in steps, and, you know, they're trying to explain to whoever's, say, coming up behind them. And, you know, it's up to people if they want to accept or not. But, and I've said this even over the years now that I think about it, there's a danger, an inherent danger, when people are in the constant state of flux with learning. Everything is learning. There's nothing absolute. And this is one of the deceptions in the world, because if you're in that state of mind, you run the risk of, for example, just walking past something that is absolute, a fact, the truth, or whatever you want to call it. And when you start going down other rabbit holes, and you start clouding everything, clouding perceptions, for example, of that vase. So I just wanted to throw this out there to give people something to think about. And in life, there are absolutes. In life, there are facts. And we see in modern times how, for many people, perhaps even most people, especially with the SJW movement, how feelings override facts. And that's a whole different tangent, and I've done videos on that over the years. But anyway, that's all I really want to say. Hopefully you kind of followed me and understood my point. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.
Listen to this and write it down if you can't remember it. You're never going to outgrow warfare. You simply must learn to fight. I hear people saying to me, oh, when is it going to get easier? When you die.